Hi, Eric Wilson here, 30-year independent licensed mechanic. In the next 6 to 8 minutes, I'm going to show you the inside story on this 2018 Nissan Titan. Okay, coming in on the front left tire, and a lot of snow here, but you got about 80% tread on aggressive snow tires. So down a bit, but definitely not out. Now, coming behind the front left tire, the first thing I want to point out, this is the outer tie rod. This is the most important thing in the entire truck because it's the only thing that holds the left wheel to the steering. It is tight. This is your left sway bar link connected from here to here. Important to be connected because it controls the sway, goes around the corner, it dampens the sway. This is your shock. Now, this shock is full of oil, and if it was leaking, you'd see it dripping all the way down here. That is bone dry, as you can see. This rubber boot here is the outer CV boot, and it's full of grease, and if it was ripped, you'd see grease all over the place. Important not to be. This is the inner CV boot right here on the left, and it is, again, full of grease. If it was ripped, you'd see grease all over the place. Right here is a leak point. If it was going to leak, it's going to leak right here where the drive shaft comes out of the tranny. See for yourself, good and dry. This is the bottom of the front diff right here. Again, another leak point would be around here, and if it was leaking, you'd see it right there, good and dry. On your brakes, you've got about 30,000 K left on your front brakes. And this is your left lower ball joint, and again, part of this holds the wheel to the structure, and that is tight as well. Now, on another leak point would be right here. This is where the front drive shaft comes into the front diff. If it was going to leak, it would leak right here, and that is good and dry. Okay, coming across another leak point. This is the bottom. Now we're going to the right-hand side. This is the right-hand drive shaft comes out from the front drive shaft. Another leak point right here, good and dry. Another leak point would be here, the bottom of the oil pan, good and dry. So coming across to the front right tire, about 80% tread. Aggressive snow tires, down a bit, but definitely not out. About 30,000 K on your right front brakes. Your right outer CV boot, good and dry, as you can see. Right inner CV boot, good and dry, as you can see. Another leak point right here. If it was going to leak on the right drive axle, it would leak right there, good and dry. Right lower ball joint is tight. The right outer tie rod is tight. Your right strut, follow it up, good and dry. Spring suspension intact, no cracks, no breaks. Right sway bar link here to here, connected, doing its job. Brake-wise, leak-wise, suspension-wise, so far on the front, no issues that I can see. Now, on another leak point would be here, the bottom of the transmission, good and dry. Bottom of the transfer case, good and dry. Another leak point right here would be where the drive shaft comes out to the rear, good and dry. Another leak point would be right here where the drive shaft comes out to the front, good and dry. Dry, okay, your exhaust, other than surface rust, no issues that I can see. No rot, no cracks, no breaks. Okay, your exhaust, good and clean. Spare tire always comes in handy. Okay, another leak point would be right here where the drive shaft goes into the rear diff, good and dry. Bottom of the diff would be a leak point, good and dry. This is your right rear shock, again, full of oil. If it was leaking, you'd see it dripping all the way down here, good and dry. Your right rear spring suspension, leaf suspension, no cracks, no breaks that I can see. Rear brakes, about same about as front, about 30,000 K on your rear brakes left. Another leak point would be right here with a seal inside there, and see for yourself, good and dry. So brake-wise, leak-wise, suspension-wise, I'm not seeing any issue on the right rear side. Coming across to the rear left side, about 70%, a little less tread on the rear than you have on the front. About 70%, 60% tread, a little less on the rear than you have on the front. Now the left rear, sway bar link connected from here to there on the left side is intact. On the right side from here to there, intact, doing its job of controlling the sway. The left shock, follow it, good and dry. Left spring suspension, leafs, no cracks, no breaks. Another leak point right here. If it was leaking, you see, other than water, but definitely not oil. Lots of ice under here, and no leaks that I can see. So brake-wise, leak-wise, suspension-wise, I'm not seeing anything of any concern so far. Okay, no check engine lights, 194, 165K. No cracks in your windshield. Dash looking very clean. Okay, I'm going to take you out and show you the condition of the motor now. And your heater blowing nice and toasty. With the motor running. Okay, shot of the exhaust for the motor running. Nothing unusual. Okay, I am not hearing anything of any concern in the motor whatsoever. I'm not surprised it's low K, and these Nissans are very well built. And as far as I can tell, this thing has been well maintained as well. So hopefully that'll give you a comprehensive view of the vehicle you got there. And honestly, truly, I'm not seeing anything of any concern. Hopefully this helps. Have a good one.